I think this next portion of the program is, I hope you find very interesting and very informative, and I will tell you, in my opinion, this is very important information. We have Erica Garza and Josh Mitchell with us today, and y'all may have already met them. They both work with Region 13 ESC and work with their educator preparation program there at Region 13. Today their topic is going to be on recruitment and retention of CTE teachers. And probably most of you have realized that we have a critical shortage of CTE teachers. Almost any area that we could name, we have a shortage of CTE teachers. And probably in a lot of areas, that's the limiting factor for our programs being able to move forward. I know I work with a health science program, and that's definitely the case in health science. And we're seeing shortages, and I'm sure they will be able to give you more information than I can on this, but we're seeing shortages in areas that, very honestly, traditionally we did not see shortages in. Things like family consumer sciences and agricultural science, where in the past we seem to have plenty of those teachers, but now almost all of these CTE areas, we're finding that we're needing more qualified teachers. So I think that what we're going to hear this morning about recruitment of teachers and how do we retain good teachers. The idea is to get a quality teacher in that classroom, and then if you do, you certainly want to find the ways to keep them there. So Josh and Erica are going to offer that information to us this morning. Welcome and thank you.
Well, thanks, Ron. I appreciate it. As Ron mentioned, I'm Josh Mitchell. This is Erica Garza, and we're going to be talking a little bit about teacher recruitment and retention. And we're going to split up today's presentation just a little bit. I'm going to begin by talking about recruitment, which is really the first step, and then Erica's going to hit the second step. So we're going to kind of delve into some softer waters, not so much hardcore numbers and grants and all that stuff. So it gives you kind of a little bit of a break from a few of those things. But our main job is just educating new teachers, getting them certified, supporting them, being mentors to them. And if you are in the Region 13 area, Eric and I know a little bit about some of the budget and Perkins grant stuff, but we do have Maya Brevard on our team. She's actually out on another assignment this week, but she's an excellent contact for a lot of that extra information on that grant stuff, and usually we refer to her if we do get those questions. Being that we're all teachers, I figured we'd do a little warm up here to just kind of get talking for a few minutes. I know you all have to be quiet for quite a bit, but what I'd like you to do is you're sitting next to some people, or you can turn behind you and talk to a shoulder partner there. I always like to define to my teachers what a shoulder partner is, and that's the person right next to you, not the person on the other side of the room. So Jeff, please don't talk to Dale on the back, all right? All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to discuss two questions here, and your two questions you're going to be talking about in the next couple minutes is, what are you currently doing to recruit CTE teachers on your campus or district? And then the second question is, how are you providing support to your new CTE teachers on your campus or district? Okay, so let me give you a couple minutes. Go ahead and turn to your partner. Now's a great time to talk, and I'll get your attention here in a couple minutes.
I'm pretty close to calling.
All right, if I could have your attention back up here, please. We could redirect up here. If you want me to use my attention signal, I can. It's totally up to you. But thanks for sharing and talking with your group mates. And I really don't feel like it'd be a good turn and talk if I don't actually hear from the crowd. Of course, we'll share some ideas with you, but I've got enough time to do maybe just one idea per each of these questions. So does anybody have something good they like to share about how they recruit their CTE teachers for their campus or district? Anybody have a good idea or thoughts? Ruthie.
Well, some of the things that we do for our school districts is we start collecting around December, January, what those lists of shortage of teachers are, and certainly we share them out with you guys because we certainly want to collect anything that you guys have in your candidate pool, and then we also share those out with the professional organizations so they can post them, and we share them out with the other professional organizations, NCCER, ASC, all those other organizations, because sometimes, even though they're short on workers too, we have folks that are coming out of the field that are willing to come into education, and we have retiring people that are willing to come into education. So, we just really try to spread the word. And then we have targeted series. We have a CTE classroom management series. We have a CTE strategy series. We have a CTE educational technology series. that are targeted just to supporting those teachers in the classroom. So whether you're a large district or a small district, we help support you with professional development just for those teachers.
Yeah, that's a good point. And you really cast a nice big umbrella over all these specific organizations and trying to find people. And we'll talk about that here in just a few minutes. I'm glad you shared that. That's a great way to start to find teachers there. Does anybody have any ideas or ways they like to help retain their teachers? You know, any programs you like to use on your campuses? Yeah, you did. Yes, sir.
I'm Melvin Barnes from Solo ISD, and I'm assistant principal for CTE. My principal, I won't say teacher, he says, man, you take good care of them. You know, you always have, because I want, you know, if I don't take care of them, then they won't take care of my students, and then I'll lose them. And so, of course, I wish I had a pot of money, but making sure that monthly we're doing something that they value, and seriously understand that I am supporting them, because if they don't think I'm supporting them, then so we want to make sure that they understand that.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I think really kind of putting that message out there that you are there as a support measure really makes a big difference. In the interest of time, I'm going to have to continue moving on, but you will have another opportunity to turn and talk here in just a few minutes. Like I said, you all are teachers and you do like to talk. That's all part of coming into the profession, right? Some of our essential questions we're going to be looking at today, and really our agenda for the next 30 to 35 minutes is to really kind of think about how can we start to recruit those teachers and get them into our classrooms. And we'll have a scenario here in just a second. And then really once we have the right candidate, how can we retain them? We hear a lot from our new teachers. We listen to new teachers all year, and we hear exactly what their concerns are when it comes to retention. But let's start with a very familiar employment scenario that you probably have had in your districts on a regular basis. But you're really, you put yourself into the role of the hiring CTE director at this point, and you're hiring for your district. And your quest is that you found that two of your veteran teachers have decided, your veteran health science teachers, I should say, have decided to go back to the health science industry or have found other jobs. It is now up to you to start to figure out how we're going to fill these positions. And as we know, health science is a really high need area, as Ron had just mentioned and we heard about in the last presentation. And really that kind of brings us to our big piece for the first part today, which is employee recruitment. A couple things to kind of think about with employee recruitment. It all begins sort of with the job posting. And one of the times, a lot of the times when we talk to teachers, they're very confused about the job postings. They will look at the job postings, and you'll see that many times the job postings are set up for a gen ed teacher, and they start to read that and they're like, okay, why am I in charge of these things? And of course, CTE teachers, there's a lot of crossover there. But one of the solutions that we always think about is if you have the opportunity to craft that job posting, I know you may not be able to do all of these, and but if you have the opportunity, you might want to curtail that to that specific CTE position that you're hiring for. And it might include things like management of a CTSO, as a few options there. It might include something about lab and shop maintenance and responsibilities that could come with that job. A lot of our CTE teachers do need to maintain a lab, and that's kind of an extra little piece. For our ag teachers, it might mean maintaining animals and keeping them healthy. So there's extra duties that come with that, and can we incorporate that into that job posting? And then within there, you know, looking at those practicum and career prep opportunities that our students have, what type of duties will they have there? What additional training, such as work-based learning training, will they need for those practicum and those career prep duties there, excuse me. So that's just you know, something to think about there when you initially get that job posted. Really the next step here is first, you know, of course you're starting to try and find some candidates and stuff, but during the summers there's lots of job fairs that are happening, right? So there's lots of opportunities for professionals to network with your HR department to have the opportunity to kind of learn about the job. One of the problems we run into is that sometimes, and I can, you know, attest to this from experience, when I was looking for a health science position and I was going out to job fairs, there was a lot of misconceptions as to what is the CTE teacher do? What does this health health science teacher do? What qualifications does this teacher need? One opportunity is that if your HR staff is going out to those job fairs, if you can locate that contact person, take a few minutes to talk with them about some of those high need areas that you are looking for at those job fairs. Okay, can you give them some education on that health science teacher that you're going to need? What qualifications do you want to find in them? And I think this may help them kind of find that perfect candidate for you if that person does show up to that job fair. I don't know that they will, but it's an opportunity to start getting that message out early and showing that your district kind of understands all the aspects of your career and tech ed program. One big piece that is often underutilized is our advisory board. When it comes to recruitment, our advisory board can be extremely important when finding the right person. I myself managed an advisory board for quite a number of years, and the advisory board is a great point of contact to find speakers and field trips and all that stuff, but we sometimes forget that they have wonderful contacts out in the community that they can pull from. They might know somebody who's retiring from nursing, athletic training, physical therapy. They might know somebody who's interested in maybe transferring over from healthcare into education, and they can be a wonderful point of contact to try and find those candidates. So I would suggest if you have a strong advisory board on your district or in your district or on your campus, that you start to reach out to them and make those phone calls so that they have the opportunity to give you some candidates that could be good people for your program. And this could be a great opportunity to start to reach out to those people and call them and start to see if they might be interested. And this kind of brings us to our next point here. If we start to find that right candidate, let's say our advisory board suggested 2 great candidates for that health science position. You start to talk to those people, and a lot of times they don't understand what goes in a classroom. It may have been 20 or 30 years before they actually step foot into a classroom, so they may need a little extra help kind of getting an idea of what it's like. Can you help and mentor that person and help them get into a classroom in the springtime before the school year ends, if you have the opportunity, or a summer school class, so they can actually shadow a teacher and see what actually goes on in that profession? Because one of the big things we want to do is we want to recruit teachers that are going to stay. And if those teachers have an idea of what happens in the classroom, they may say this is really for me, or they may say this isn't for me. And if it isn't for them, that's okay. It's not quite the right fit for them. Therefore, we don't have to worry about maybe continuing to pursue that. But if they have the opportunity and they say, this is right, I want to do this, I want to help kids, which is our main purpose for being here, it gives them an opportunity to kind of see, what is it like to manage a classroom? What's it like to do assignments, deliver a lesson? Okay, so that's a great opportunity to start with for those teachers. One thing that comes up a lot of, we were just talking about salary structure. We wish that we had a huge pot of money, but one of the big problems we run into is that you may be hiring for this position, but the district 10 miles down the road actually offers additional stipends and salary for those teachers. And there's a lot of creative ways to put together salaries. Of course, this is all a local decision, but some districts have gone as far as paying for alternative teaching certifications. I think that's a nice piece. That could save those teachers a lot of money in the long run. Something else we could think about is providing a stipend for CTE teachers who are in high need areas. So I know some districts will offer additional stipends for health science teachers and our trades and industrial teachers, with the main purpose that they have to maintain a lot of times a license outside of the teaching realm. So they might have to maintain that nursing license or that welding license and get extra professional development. So it may help them offset some of those costs. So that's an opportunity if you have the funds available. And then some districts, and we'll talk about pay steps here in just a minute, but some districts will go above and beyond and add additional options for moving teachers up the pay scale based on experience. Some districts might say that you get a 1-for-1 match for your 5 years of experience in the field, and then for every additional year after that, we might give a half year. So that's just one scenario, but there's a lot of different ways you can set it up. And talk with your CTE teachers about that. If you're thinking about putting that together, you could create a compensation committee on your district campus. If if you have those funds available. So it's just something to think about there if you can do that. The other thing I didn't put in there is CTSOs. It's nice to have a little bit of a CTSO stipend if you have that availability for those teachers. CTSOs, they're career and tech student organizations. I think that can add a nice little incentive for them to really manage that organization well for their students as well. This comes straight from code here. With our teachers that need that work experience as part of their approval into teaching, so this is our marketing, our health science, and our trades and industrial certification areas, it is recommended that they get a 2-year pay step within the district for those first 2 years of experience that they have, because they do have to show that in their that statement of qualifications when they are approved by the educator prep program or by the district if they're going to go ahead and challenge a test for marketing, for example. So it is suggested. Once again, you could go above and beyond this. It's totally up to what funds you have on your campuses there. So based on your recruitment strategies and changing those job postings, giving that teacher an opportunity to get it in job shadow, maybe you're able to offer some extra incentives and pay for that teacher. You're very fortunate to have found 2 great health science teachers who are really interested. Okay, now your goal over the next year is to start to think about how can I retain those positions. And this is where I'm going to turn it over to Erica so she can talk a little bit more about retention.
Okay. I think I've talked to a lot of you guys on the phone, so it's good to kind of meet you in person. I have a loud voice too, so I'm trying not to talk directly into the mic for those of you that know me. So it's really nice to be here and talk to you guys about employee retention. We all know that, as Josh mentioned, we work with first-year teachers all throughout the year, and employee retention seems to be a huge issue. Teachers are staying around for 2 or 3 years and then going back into industry. So what can we kind of do that we have control over with our resources at a campus or district level to help support those teachers, or even at the ESC level? So a quick think, pair, share. So think about the teachers that you've had that have left your campus and pursued other opportunities in industry, back into industry. What are the top reasons that you have been given as to why they've resigned? Have you kind of talked to them about that? So let's take a minute or two, talk to your shoulder partner about what are the top reasons that you've been given for your teachers resigning that are in some of these high needs fields. So go ahead and talk for a minute or two. All right. Thank you guys for your attention and for talking to your partners. Go ahead and give me your attention back up here. Thank you. So I heard a lot of great conversation. I think based on our first shoulder partner activity and this one, we kind of all have these reasons probably that we've heard from teachers. So I do want to hear just from a couple of you guys really quick. I did kind of hear some conversation. A lot of it, I've heard a couple of people saying they didn't get support on the campus or they didn't feel supported, maybe lack of mentorship. Any other ideas as far as some reasons that you've been given that your teachers have resigned and gone back to industry? Yes, ma'am.
Well, this is for teachers in general, especially the ones who didn't go to college to become a teacher, so not just CTE teachers. Mm-hmm. They became a teacher because of something that was happening in their industry in the first place. There was a downturn, they got laid off, and it was, oh, well, I can go teach. It was never their intent to be a teacher for a long time. So when things picked back up in the industry that they loved in the first place, they left and went back to the industry.
Okay, so that's a good point. Anybody else? Yes.
With my partner and I, we talked about when this, well, in my district, when this situation came up, one of the top reasons that I think some of the administration thought was money, but I don't agree with that actually. I think that money helps, but when it comes to retaining teachers, I mean, even the research shows that it comes down to, do they feel supported? Mm-hmm. Do they feel included? Is there a strong instructional culture on the campus? Are they getting feedback from their administrators? And also, are effective and ineffective teachers dealt with accordingly? If you have an ineffective teacher and you're allowing them to just continue on the campus with no consequences, mm-hmm. your top teachers are like, well, what's my motivation to keep improving? So I think that those are bigger factors as to why they may not want to stay rather than money.
Absolutely. Those are some great points. I think you wrote our presentation because that's what we're going to be talking about with retention. Those are all some really great and valid points, and that's what we're going to kind of bring to light and try to come up with some solutions and kind of problem solve with you guys. So teacher assignment and workload, one thing that we really try to, when we're talking with districts and they're hiring, especially a brand new teacher that's coming straight from industry, really be thoughtful of that teacher's assignment, what extra assignments such as coaching duties or other responsibilities that are added onto their plate as a brand new teacher, especially if they're going through certification. Be cognizant and aware of what that workload entails for them so that they can really try to get that work-life balance down. So, and is their classroom located near their mentor? That's important. Is there some kind of way that you can get them to feel that support? Minimal number of preparations. While I know that's kind of laughable, I taught family and consumer science, so I had 4 preps. It was just part of the job. But try to help the teacher prepare for that aspect. A permanent classroom. So floating teacher is not a good idea for a first year teacher. That does kind of put them over the top. So trying to find them a permanent space that they can make their home and make that a livable space for that first year especially. Limit extracurricular activities if possible. If they are managing a CTSO, that's great. Maybe having them as a co-sponsor. Grade and subject matches their certification, and then a stable teaching assignment. And then professional development. So try to, as the lady mentioned, try to bring the training early, have something engaging, it's regular, it's repeated, monitor it, so that your professional development is really kind of tailored to not only the new teacher on the campus, but getting them acclimated into that campus culture and environment. So some things specific to CTE, such as what Ruthie mentioned that they do at Region 20, have some professional development around managing your classroom or lab or shop setting. That can be a lot different in industry as it is in the classroom. So help them make that transition. The work-based learning for the practicum and career prep teachers. Academic integration into CTE. So how do I include reading and writing? If they have come from a trade or an industry job, that, how does that transition and what does that look like for CTE classrooms? How do I take curriculum and integrate that and teach the skill and knowledge that I know is needed in industry and utilize my curriculum to do that? And then I think the last one is really important, making sure they understand district and campus policy and procedure. Our new teachers often are deer in the headlights a lot of the year. Everything from their grade book, the grading system, how do they submit grades, how behaviors managed on the campus, just everything to try to get them acclimated as quickly as possible to what the campus expectations are. Summer conferences, if you have the opportunity and you've hired a teacher in May or June, try to see if you can get them in at a CTE summer conference before they start teaching. Or midwinter conferences. I know TIVA offers CTAT, or TCEC is offered in midwinter. So allow them to, this will allow them to connect with other colleagues that are in their areas. It helps them kind of build curriculum content. They can talk to vendors about products and services that are offered for their career cluster or area, and then they learn about ways that veteran teachers are running their classrooms. They get professional development from teachers and kind of build on their network, especially if they're the only CTE teacher or family consumer science teacher on their campus. I know Vicki mentioned yesterday a lot of their school districts are 1 and 2A, so you may be the only person teaching that content. So helping them build that network of other colleagues. Mentors are very, very important. Identify mentors on the campus that are willing to work with new teachers and kind of have that patience. We all know new teachers are going to have lots and lots of questions. They're willing to collaborate and challenge new teachers to grow professionally. They listen, they can empathize and celebrate achievements. They're very honest and candid with their feedback, and they maybe one suggestion is offering a small stipend to mentors who have gone above and beyond to help, like your new health science teacher, as Josh was talking about, that is a high needs area, but trying to find a way to really build on that mentorship program within your campus and within your control to help. Curriculum and resources. You can provide curriculum resource assistance. Make sure they have textbooks. While that sounds a little funny, I did work with some teachers this year that didn't get textbooks for about the first 5 months of school. And so if they don't have actual textbooks, help them get connected with some of our great curriculum resources through SFA or all the different curriculums out there for the UNT website that's specific to their career cluster. Help them locate those items, help them develop a scope and sequence. What does that look like? Or have their mentor or someone on the campus help develop that in the beginning, so at least they have a framework to base their curriculum. And then creating a support network with similar content area teachers is also another way that you can help support curriculum and resources. And then new teacher orientation, prior to all staff coming back on contract, try to set up a new teacher orientation or be a part of that committee, or however your district may roll that out. But make sure that the new teachers meet their administration, their mentor, anybody important support people on their campuses, the budget person, the financial person on your campus, especially if you're managing CTSOs or monies. A tour of the campus is provided. The new teachers have the opportunity to get in their room and begin working. So these are just some suggestions with new teacher orientation. And then school year support, create monthly or quarterly morning meetings, or however you can fit that into the schedule with the teacher and mentor. So there's some accountability from the mentor perspective, really, so they can, celebrate even the smallest of accomplishments, gains that they're making in the classroom with student achievement. They can check in and see how things are going. We know as administrators, as directors, it's very hard to see your teachers on a regular basis, and that's a problem. But maybe relying on that mentor to kind of check in and see how things are going for you. Develop an area of growth during the next month or quarter. So have the teacher focus on a specific topic if you see that there's an area of need there. So it could be assessment, lesson planning, instructional delivery, whatever that may look like for that specific teacher. But have some target kind of goals for them to shoot for and giving suggestions. With that being said, we do have some bookmarks here for the teacher toolkit, which was developed by Region 13. It has a QR code. I know we've handed them out before, but it really does have some great resources with videos to show you how to implement different instructional strategies related to assessment, lesson planning, classroom management, instructional delivery. It's all free. It's great for brand new teachers, for veteran teachers, for anybody, but there is a lot. And we'll be adding some more CTE specific scenarios, or looking in more into CTE classes as well. End of year support, so meet one more time at the end of the year to go over and kind of close out the year on your campuses, and then reflect on what went well in the classroom and what can be improved upon. I think an end of the year kind of meeting, celebration with your teachers is a great way to gather any feedback and see what you can do to make that better. Again, as the gentleman spoke about support, just really building and letting them know that you're there for them. What are the big high needs? If you're needing a brand new kitchen, or you need a new stove, or you need something new in your shop, what does that look like, and how can we help support them with these items? And then mentors beyond year one. I know I worked in a school district in the local area, and we did a mentor program for second year and third year teachers. So teacher turnover is a problem in the first 5 years. So consider continuing your mentor program into years 2 and year 3 to kind of expand and beyond that first year to provide them with that additional support. Once they get their first year under the belt, they definitely feel more confident, but continuing that support will help elevate that level of teaching, student achievement, and all of the things that are needed to be effective in the classroom. And then, so let's just kind of share. We talked a lot about some recruitment strategies, some retention. What are some ideas that we've kind of come up with in talking with districts? So share with your shoulder partner really quick. What are 2 ideas that you want to take back to your campus, district, or if you're an ESC representative, to assist your districts that will help improve CTE recruitment and retention? So let's just take a minute or 2, and then we'll do a couple of share outs, and we'll share.
Because I'm also looking for a health science.
Okay. So it's time for us to wrap up really quick. Can I get your attention? Thank you guys so much for sharing and talking with your partners. I think you're your best resources. All of the ESC personnel that's throughout the room are great resources to help you brainstorm ideas and really come back with some good takeaways. So can I just hear from one person? Will you raise your hand? What are some ideas that you took away from today's recruitment and retention? Anybody? Yes.
I think updating the job descriptions is really key, especially we have a lot of people that have left and they just roll out like the same position they might have got hired under, and so they've changed what the pathways even are. They might not even have that specific course selection or whatever hits HR, where we get like, oh, they're not going to even be teaching those things and they're not certified, and so
That's a great point. There is a big disconnect. We hear that a lot from teachers. They're like, I don't know what do I apply for? So that's a great one. That's what kind of made us kind of spark and think about it from that perspective. Well, thank you guys. If you do have any questions, please let us know. We have business cards up here as well if you guys do have any questions. Okay, so thank you guys for your time and attention. We appreciate it.